Good evening, I'm John Carter. Welcome to Poland Daily. The president of Gdansk, Paweł Adamowicz, has sadly lost his life. Adamowicz died in hospital a day after being stabbed during the Gdansk finale of the Great Orchestra of Christmas Charity. The attacker, 27-year-old Stefan W., had previously served a prison sentence for armed robbery. According to the Wirtualna Polska news website, he was sent to a psychiatric ward in Szczecin during his time in prison, where he was allegedly diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia.
The late president of Gdańsk was attacked during the most important part of the concert, the so-called Światełko do nieba, or the Light to Heaven, during the finale of the Great Orchestra of Christmas Charity in Gdańsk. A 27-year-old attacker ran onto the stage at around 8 p.m. In a recording from the concert, we can see how Stefan W. runs across the stage towards Paweł Adamowicz and strikes him with a knife. Then he walks around the stage with his hands raised up and talks through a microphone about the crime he committed just seconds earlier. Hello, my name is Stefan Wilmot. I was wrongfully put in prison. The Civic Platform Party tortured me. That's why Adamowicz needed to die. Stefan W. stabbed Adamowicz 3 times, twice around the heart and once in the belly. One of the blows struck an aorta. The paramedics reanimated Adamowicz for 25 minutes on the stage. Then the heavily wounded was transported to the University Clinical Center in Gdańsk. The surgery took more than 5 hours. After the surgery, the doctors stressed that Adamowicz's life was still in danger. The deputy president of the city of Gdańsk, Aleksandra Dulkiewicz, appealed to not use this tragedy for political purposes. We still don't know what was the attacker's motivation, but I beg everyone, let's remove aggression from our everyday lives, from the political life, from any other life. We can't let violence escalate. Paweł Adamowicz was the president of Gdańsk for over 20 years. In recent municipal elections, he was chosen for that office for the 6th time in a row. He was 53 years old.
The president of Poland, Andrzej Duda, after meeting with representatives of political groups, announced that the day of the mayor of Gdansk, Paweł Adamowicz's funeral, will be a day of national mourning.
Representatives of every political group say that they're shocked by this cruel crime. They express grief and sadness and offer condolences to the family of the mayor of the city of Gdańsk, Paweł Adamowicz. They all condemned the act that led to the mayor of Warsaw losing his life. Today, the president of Poland, Andrzej Duda, invited representatives of all political groups to the presidential palace. The meeting concerned the march against violence and hatred, but it won't take place.
The murder of the mayor of the city of Gdańsk, Paweł Adamowicz, is a tragedy for all of us. It raises condemnation, grief and sadness. Condolences to the family. Rest in peace. It's a big shock for all of us. We can't believe it. We will certainly remember Mr. Adamowicz as a very positive person. He was always smiling and we should remember him that way. We are all shocked by this crime. We are shocked by the death of the mayor of the city of Gdańsk. We decided not to organize the march. We decided, if it's possible, to be with the mourning family during the funeral ceremony and pay tribute to Mayor Adamowicz, who served the city of Gdańsk and the Republic of Poland for many years. I would like his death to be honored with a day of national mourning. I asked representatives of all political groups which day should we choose, because I wanted this to be a decision made by all of us. We decided that the family of Adamowicz should choose the day, and it will possibly be the day of the funeral.
The Civic Platform Party politicians didn't participate in a meeting organized by the Polish president, even though Paweł Adamowicz once belonged to their party. They said that it's not the right time to organize initiatives like that, and that this should be a period of silence.
After the Polish Internal Security Agency arrested a Chinese citizen on espionage charges, the spokeswoman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China has warned the Polish authorities not to include the Huawei company in the investigation.
We will ask Poland for the fastest consultations possible in this matter. We call Poland to settle this case based on facts and to make sure that the rights of Wei Jin-W are kept and that he will be treated the right way. We want Poland to stop making unreasonable insinuations and restrictions against Huawei and other Chinese companies. We also call for fair conditions for mutual investments and fair cooperation of companies.
The US ambassador to Germany, Richard Grenell, has written a letter to a number of German companies engaged in the construction of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Grenell has threatened them with the US sanctions if they don't pull out of the project. The gas pipeline would allow Russian gas to flow straight to Germany under the Baltic Sea, bypassing Ukraine and Poland. Both countries deemed the planned pipeline to be a threat to both the European Union and their energy security.
The story was broken by the German daily Handelsblatt. The newspaper wrote that Ambassador Grenell's letter was perceived as a provocative act by the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs. According to Handelsblatt, German diplomats are of the opinion that Grenell believes it to be his job to sabotage the most important components of German foreign policy, and that he doesn't understand the role that should be played by an ambassador. The newspaper also stated that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Heiko Maas, has told Grenell that he needs to change his behavior. According to Handelsblatt, the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs has, in response, adopted a strategy of bypassing Grenell and instead deal directly with the US State Department. The US Embassy in Berlin is to be marginalized, and Grenell, in particular, ignored as much as possible. US President Donald Trump has previously strongly criticized Germany for continuing the construction of Nord Stream 2. On December 11, 2018, the US House of Representatives passed a non-binding bipartisan resolution supporting sanctions against the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. Poland and other countries in Central Eastern Europe have argued that the EU is already too dependent on Russian gas and therefore needs to diversify its energy suppliers. Russia has proved on a number of occasions in the past that it is capable of using its near-monopolistic position on the European gas market as a political tool. It's a situation which Nord Stream 2, if finished, will only cement.
Thank you very much for joining us here at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Weather and then the business, and that will be followed by Poland Daily Culture, History and the Travel.
Good evening, I'm Paulina Odderstein. Welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Tonight, overnight lows will be from -5 degrees in the area of Białystok, as well as in Lublin, Rzeszów, and Olsztyn. Also quite cold, -4 degrees in central Poland and Warsaw and Łódź. Some snow will appear there as well. Also in the area of Katowice, as well as in Wrocław and Zielona Góra. The warmest tonight will be Koszalin, 2 degrees Celsius. And now let's check the weather for tomorrow. So tomorrow it will be quite sunny in one part of Poland and quite rainy with clouds. In the other part, the warmest will be Szczecin, 5 degrees Celsius, also 4 degrees in the area of Koszalin, and the coolest we are expecting in the area of Rzeszów with some snow, also Lublin -1 and Białystok -1, as well as in Olsztyn. Central Poland will see 1 degree in Warsaw and 0 in Łódź. This is all for tonight. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Poland Daily Business Edition. Tonight we will look a little bit broader, not only to Poland, not only to European Union, but to the whole world and the biggest economy in the world. The United States has no government to speak of, and we will talk about that to Jerzy Bielewicz. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How this is possible? United States with no government?
Not really. It works, but it's partial shutdown, first of all. It's because of the dispute over the border wall, the key project of Donald Trump, and I think a very important issue for the United States. But I would say that it's very, very similar to our problem in European Union. We have huge problems with migration, with terrorism, with drug trafficking here in European Union. And it's the same dispute as in Europe, so it's not world affairs, it's also European problems, controlling borders, and I'm very much aside President Donald Trump. It seems that the control of the border is very, very important. It's drug trafficking over this Mexican-U.S. border, and it's a big, huge business. Not many people know that you can compare the size of this market, black market, to the size of a crude oil market. It's trillions of dollars, and it comes to the United States through this border, most of it. So there was little detail which is very saying that the price of drugs near to Mexican border is 10 times less than price of the same drug let's say in New York or in Seattle, which tells me that the United States lost control of its southern states, that maybe this huge trafficking business is very corruptive for southern states of the United States.
Well, except for that, we have a problem with intoxication of the whole generations, of the habitual use of the drugs, of the opiates that are like used like cigarettes were used 20 or 30 years ago, and that has its footprint on the well-being of the society, of the well-being of the families, of the raising the children.
Look, let us jump to Asia and China. China is the world leader of and producer of compounds, ingredients that are needed to produce synthetic drugs. And until recently, right now, it's not penalized in China. And I hear that President Trump likes Xi Jinping, that he corrects Chinese law, that it's penalized and very strictly. And we have this Silk Road project. So we don't really want that this entry of Chinese products would increase the probability of drug trafficking to Poland, for example. That's global trade, global economy, and global problems. And drug trafficking and production and trading, it's a huge, huge problem for our generation.
Well, the United States is a country of immigrants. Like 99.9% of the inhabitants has their roots somewhere in Europe, in Asia, or in Africa. Europe is different. It's countries that don't have this. Like most of Germans, most of French, Poles are living here since several hundred years. So I think it's difficult to compare the American situation and the legitimacy of stopping the migrants who wants to improve their lifestyle, who wants to work in the United States, from the American situation to the European ones, when most of those people came here to get state-funded pensions and basically do nothing except from spreading their culture.
And its similarity, it's no longer that much difference between the European Union, Poland, and the United States, especially after this migration crisis 2 years ago. Look at the ethnic situation in France or in Spain and in Germany.
There's the magic border of 5%. Is there a Muslim population? Is already over 5% or not? And that's the question.
And demographic issue as well. Again, the problems in the United States are quite similar to those of the European Union. And controlled migration that if you'd like to come to European Union, you have to apply first, not go through the illegal border and
not the
claim
the rubber
benefits.
boat, pay the money. It's lots of things here. Okay, so the problems are similar. The solution looks different because Donald Trump is determined to stop it, to build the wall this way or another. The government and the new Congress will not probably give him money for it, so he decided to make it by force.
Yeah, he will declare national emergency. I think he will do it because, as you said, the United States, in my opinion, needs this wall. It's 3,000 miles of the borderline, and it's only 700 miles of wall, existing wall. And you have to control your border, especially if it's Mexican, the U.S.-Mexico border, because of drug trafficking, human trafficking, and controlling your southern states and controlling that your citizens of the United States are in good health and feel secure in their homes. And it's not the case along the Mexican border.
There's a lot of problems. We cannot untangle all of them in this 10 minutes show, but at least we tried. Jerzy Bielewicz was our guest, sir. Thank you very much for coming to the show. And that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Good evening and welcome again to Poland Daily Weather. I'm Paulina Adlerstein. If we look at the map for tomorrow in Poland, we will see that there will be quite a lot of sun in the eastern parts of Poland, as well as near Krakow and Katowice, but some clouds will appear there as well. Quite rainy and with snow, Wrocław, Zielona Góra, also Bydgoszcz and the northern parts, as well as in Szczecin, which will be the warmest tomorrow with 5 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees in Koszalin, and the coolest will be in the lower parts in Rzeszów with -2 degrees. Now let's check the forecast in Europe for tomorrow. As we can see, a lot of sun will appear in Madrid, Spain, as well as in Lisbon with 14 degrees Celsius. Also quite a bit of sun, but mixed with clouds in Oslo, Norway with 1 degree, 9 degrees in London, 9 degrees in Dublin, as well as in Paris. The coolest will be -1 degree in the area of Minsk. This is all for tonight. I'm thanking you very much. Good night.
Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. On today's episode, we're here from the Polish National Library at Kruszyński Palace.
Today we will explore the life of Wacław Seweryn Rzewuski from 1784 to 1831. Rzewuski is a little-known, underrated, yet influential figure in Poland who inspired poets, painters, and travelers alike. Mickiewicz dedicated the poem titled Fares to him. Słowacki immortalized him in the poem titled Pride about Wacław Rzewuski. Wincenty Pol called him Goldbear Hetman. Wacław Rzewuski was a Polish explorer, poet, orientalist, and horse expert. He was born on December 15, 1784 in Lwów, and later on served in the Austrian army, fighting at Aspern-Essling in 1809. During his time in Vienna, his relative, the famous traveler and adventurer Jan Potocki, stirred his interest in travel to the lands of the Middle East, and he took up the study of Turkish and Arabic. Together with the pioneering Austrian Orientalist Joseph von Hammer-Purgstall, he founded one of the first professional journals of Middle East and Islamic studies, Sources for Oriental Studies, which was published in 6 folio volumes from 1809 to 1819.
I'm here at Pałac Kruszyński and I'm joined by the author, Mr. Jacek Krawczyk. Mr. Jacek Krawczyk, welcome to Poland Daily Culture. We're here today to discuss the life and times of Wacław Jaworski. Maybe you could start off by telling our viewers a little something about the man.
Wacław Seweryn Jaworski to bardzo ciekawa postać. Urodzony w 1784 roku, w wieku 10 lat opuścił Polskę, z rodzicami zamieszkał w Wiedniu. Tam uczył się języka arabskiego i w 1809 roku
Wacław Seweryn Jaworski is a very interesting character. Born in 1784, at 10 years old, he left Poland with his parents and lived in Vienna. There he learned the Arabic language, and in 1809 he founded, with the distinguished Austrian Orientalist Joseph Burgstaller Hemmerem, one of the first European newspapers on Eastern Europe culture, Von Gruben des Orients. The paper, Mainz des Orient, was published in French, German, Arabic, and Turkish, Italian, and Latin. For many years, he provided funds for the paper. In 1815, during the Vienna Congress, he saw an opportunity. Europe, after the Napoleonic Wars, was lacking horses. He suggested importing pure-blood horses from the Arabian Peninsula, where exceptional horses were reared. His project was approved by Tsar Alexander I. So in 1817, age 18, Wacław Seweryn Jaworski started preparation for the trip. He headed east with a large group through Istanbul, Damascus, and then Aleppo. He spent around 2 years there. Based in Aleppo, he traveled to historical places of present-day Syria, such as Palmyra or Baghdad. Although he did not get to the southernmost part of the peninsula like present-day Yemen, he went on a pilgrimage to Mecca. As a non-believer, he could not enter Mecca, so he stopped at the gates of the city. During his travels through the desert, he purchased pure-blood horses from Arabs and Bedouins. He managed to negotiate good prices and bought over 130 of the best horses, most of them mares. After numerous adventures, he reached present-day Ukraine at Podoloya, where he got his mansion. The horses were given to Tsar Alexander and his sister Catherine. Jaworski also sold studs to royalty, such as Prince Branitzky or Prince Sengushko. What was fascinating about the trip? First of all, he was very well prepared for it. He spoke Arabic, Turkish. At home, he spoke French and German. He grew up in the best conditions one can imagine. You are aware that Vienna at the time was the pinnacle of European culture. Schubert and Beethoven were performing their music. Vienna attracted the best minds from around Europe. But Vienna was also the town where for 30 to 40 years the Oriental Academy was established. The Austrian Empire was very much interested in what was going on in the Near East. It had many relations with the Near Eastern countries, obviously foremost with the Ottoman Empire. Many European Orientalists in Vienna had the opportunity to exchange ideas, research projects. It was in Vienna in 1804 where Jan Potocki, the author of the Saragossa manuscript book, introduced a youthful Wacław Seweryn Jaworski to the circles of Eastern Orientalists. Among others, it was Potocki who was instrumental in helping young Wacław Jaworski connect with Perkstal and Emir, and probably it was his advice to publish the first European Orientalist paper. What was interesting about Wacław Jaworski's trip to the Near East was his reaction to what he saw there. Most travelers at the time, be they French, British, or German, saw Arabia as potential colonial empires. European travelers saw land that could become English, French, or Germans. Jaworski was not like that. He saw an amazing culture and did not consider Arabs and Bedouins as prospective subjects of some king. He was fascinated by the Bedouin culture. He was fascinated in their way of life as well as their horses. Arabs, Bedouins welcomed him very warmly because of his great horse riding skills. his physical endurance, and he shared their life in the desert. According to his writings, he entered into the covenant of blood with several local tribes. He was recognized in 13 Bedouin tribes. He was a man who wrote what he saw and drew pictures. Upon his return to his family mansion, he decided to organize his notes into a manuscript he titled Sur les Vox Orientaux et Provenance des Races Orientales. He also published titles such as The Former Cavalry Officer, Academia Scientist, and A Friend of Arabs, known amongst them as Abdel Nisha. He spent 4 to 5 years writing after his return from Arabia, around 1825 or 1826. His handwriting is very firm, and he added beautiful pictures. Volume 1 provides a description of the Arabian Peninsula. The second volume consists of a description of Arabian horses, as well as tribes who bred those horses. He added annexes such as Arabic songs written in European styles, maps of the peninsula, roads that he was traveling. He also added over 200 small pictures of that showcases scenes such as the desert, hunting, running away, and the daily life, Damascus and Aleppo.
Podróżników widział przede wszystkim ziemie, które mogą kiedyś należeć do Anglików, do Francuzów czy do Niemców.
Dziękuję bardzo, Mr. Jacek Krawczyk. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us at Poland Daily Culture. Join us again tomorrow when we take another journey through Polish culture.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the Warsaw Royal Castle, an estate that served as a residence for king and monarchs of Poland for centuries. Follow me and my guests as we unravel the story and history of this amazing place on Poland Daily History.
Our guests today are Professor Zofia Kosowska and Dr. Łukasz Kosowski, the two curators responsible for the Signs of Freedom exhibition, which is currently housed by the Royal Castle in Warsaw. The exhibition is dedicated to the years between 1914 and 1989, in the time in which Poles struggled to either regain or preserve their freedom. Today's topic will focus on the interwar era and the impact the Polish countryside had on Polish artists.
So you two are in charge of the exhibition of the Sign of Freedom, and as I know, deals mainly about the interwar era, especially something to do with the cultural and ethnical diversity in intra-provincial Poland. And I was wondering if you guys can elaborate a little bit on the topics.
Tak, wystawa Znaki Wolności, która została
Yes, the Signs of Freedom exhibit was created as a type of historical fresco, encompassing not only historical facts, but also the cultural dimension, which commented on, interpreted, and symbolized reality. It covers the years 1914 to 1989 chronologically, and it's true that the interwar period in the 20s and 30s takes up about half of the exhibit.
89. I rzeczywiście okres międzywojenny, czy lata 20 i 30, wypełniają niemal połowę.
In the exhibit, we try to, among other things, show the path of the armed battle, so the armed forces created thanks to the initiative of Józef Piłsudski and his accomplices.
Czyli formacje zbrojne tworzone z inicjatywy Józefa Piłsudskiego i jego towarzyszy. I pokazać szlak bojowy.
We show the combat trail, and we also dedicate a section to the military conflicts, which took place after independence was regained, when the Polish Republic unfortunately had to fight for some of its borders, which had not been delineated. We show, in brief of course, the Polish-Ukrainian War and the Polish-Bolshevik War, as well as the Silesian and Greater Poland uprisings.
Wojnę polsko-bolszewicką, także powstania śląskie i powstanie wielkopolskie. Ale jak gdyby równolegle do tego ciągu walk zbrojnych
Parallel to this long line of battles, we show the provinces far away from the events going on in the big cities, where life runs according to a much different pace, definitely much slower.
wolniej. I dodatkowo jak gdyby
Additionally, the borders, which are still being formed, cause other territories, which actually links back to the first Polish Republic, to be engulfed by the Polish state, territories which include national, ethnic and religious minorities such as Ukrainians, Belarusians, Lithuanians, as well as a Czech minority in the south and a fairly large German minority in Upper Silesia, as well as Greater Poland and Pomerania.
Białorusini, jak Litwini, także na południu mniejszość czeska, na Śląsku Górnym duża mniejszość niemiecka, podobnie w Wielkopolsce czy na Pomorzu, a więc także Kaszubi.
There are also Kashubians, the Roma community who can be found circulating around the whole country, and the Hatzals who live in the eastern borderlands.
Polski, które wnoszą do kultury polskiej właśnie olbrzymią różnorodność.
They bring a lot of diversity to the Polish culture for sure, like the Jewish diaspora, also scattered around the country. Each of these nationalities, each of these ethnic groups, and each of these religious groups keep their own traditions.
One zachowują swoją specyfikę i co prawda pojawiają się już w II Rzeczypospolitej, tej już umocnionej, różne koncepcje polityczne.
A lot of political concepts come about in the Second Polish Republic, including ideas for the repolonization of Poland, to set up the borders of the Polish Republic in such a way that would mean the core of society was Polish.
Ale pojawiają się też antytetyczne koncepcje polityczne.
There are also diametrically different concepts which emphasize the specific character and traditions of certain regions and give minorities equal rights as well as give them all the rights that citizens should have, meaning the same rights that ethnic Poles enjoyed. So the cultural map of Poland is varied, one may say multicolored.
Mapa kulturowa Polski jest rzeczywiście bardzo bogata, zróżnicowana, można powiedzieć taka wielobarwna.
This is also attractive for artists who travel to the eastern areas of Poland, which is something of a tradition when it comes to Polish art from the late 19th and early 20th century. Ukraine is a much-loved place by many Polish painters, so once again they're attracted back to this area.
Ukraina to jest ten obszar ukochany przez wielu polskich malarzy.
Polish interwar painters, sculptors, and others weren't just preoccupied with examining the ethnic mosaic of the Polish Second Republic, but also its diverse landscapes ranging from the Tatra Mountains in the south to the Baltic coast in the north. Other gems included the Woundov Desert in the southwest and the Pripyat Marshes in what is today western Belarus. Dr. Łukasz Kosowski will tell us more about the artists that traveled across Poland in search of inspiration and beauty.
Who are the more high-profile people during the interwar era that deals mostly with the minorities?
To cała grupa artystów, którzy
There is a whole group of artists who fell in love with the provincial areas of Poland in the interwar period. These are great Polish names in the artistic world, such as Rafał Malczewski, Bruno Schulz or Jeremy Kubicki. They observe the sleepy charm of the province, a variegation, a variety and slower rhythm of life that can be found in those areas.
różnorodność i atmosferę, senność, zwolniony rytm życia na prowincji. Tych nazwisk jest oczywiście więcej.
There are many more artists that could be named, but these are the most important, such as Bruno Schulz, a great Polish writer of Jewish origin, who with great skill manages to show the metaphysics of the province, as I mentioned, its inherent sleepiness, its slowed down sense of time, which can be observed in many spheres.
Senność, jej zwolniony czas, jaki właśnie w tej przestrzeni płynie. Albo Rafał Malczewski.
Or Rafał Malczewski, the son of the great Polish painter Jacek Malczewski, an artist who treats the mountain landscape as something of a surreal space. His paintings have a certain poetry, as it's said, of a shifted or altered reality, a little surrealistic.
Taką poetykę, jak to się mówi, przesuniętej rzeczywistości.
Then there is Jeremi Kubicki, whose great work Zdrojowiska Polskie or the Polish Health Resorts, which we can admire. It's a work that was presented in the Polish Salon in the Great World Exposition in Paris in 1937. It returned from there and now hangs in the shelter for mountaineers at the peak of the Gubałówka mountain, right next to the city of Zakopane.
Jest prezentowane w schronisku na Gubałówce w Zakopanem.
All these hundreds of works that are created in the province can be placed in their own section of Polish art during that time. We also cannot forget to talk about the seaside, so an area of Polish art which was rediscovered, starting with the Poland's marriage to the sea, a political or symbolic act where General Haller throws a platinum ring into the depths of the Baltic Sea, and in this way returns it to the Polish society and to the Polish artistic world.
Propagandowego, kiedy to generał Haller wrzuca w odmęty Bałtyku platynowy pierścień.
This symbolic act is the background for one of the more famous paintings of the era, painted by Wojciech Kossak, and which can also be admired at our exhibition. These are probably the most known names when it comes to the province. We are hoping that people will try to absorb this atmosphere when looking at these works at the exhibition.
Patrząc na te dzieła.
Here at the Warsaw Royal Palace, we learned the history and story of Polish democracy and how the parliamentary system came to be. It later on became an influence to Europe and to the whole world. It is not just a story of the castle, but also the story of Warsaw and the story of Poland. That's it for today. See you next time on Poland Daily History.
Welcome to Poland Daily Travel again. Today we will be going underground. That's right, we'll be riding in style on the Warsaw metro system. There are two metro lines in the city of Warsaw, serving the center of the city all the way to the suburbs, from Kabaty to Młociny. The north-south line, the M1, links central Warsaw with its densely populated northern and southern areas. The first east-west segment of the M2 line opened on March 8, 2015. The M2 line will continue to be extended, and a third line, the M3, is planned. The first section of the M1 was opened in 1995, and it reached its full length in October of 2008. The M2 section is 6 kilometers or about 4 miles long. This east-west section contains a tunnel deep beneath the Vistula River. There are 7 stations connecting the heart of the city from Praga all the way to the west. There are 7 sections on the east-west M2. Passengers seem to like it. You can get around town in comfort. Whether for business or pleasure, the system is rated very highly by its many passengers. That being said, let's have a look with Poland Daily Travel as we go underground on the metro in Warsaw.
Hey, Nick, have you ever gone to any events here? We got this beautiful frozen sunshine. There's nothing like it. Warsaw's a great place for this time of year.
It absolutely is, and this marvelous snow is just beginning as well.
It's fantastic. You can see behind us, it's almost deserted right now.
There's nobody here, they've all gone.
There's nobody here. And why is that?
Maybe they're still celebrating Christmas.
Well,
somewhere.
They might be, it's the new year. But I'll tell you, there's no big events going on. But when there is a big event, the place is full of people.
Can't move for people.
Full of people.
And cars.
I mean, have you been to any big events?
I've been to a couple of things at the National Stadium, yeah.
What have you been to?
I went to some charity event. So I wasn't actually in the stadium where they play things. I was in the sort of restaurant area at the site.
You were in the restaurant area?
Well, they got a thing for entertaining. They have, charity functions and things like that. So I went to one of those.
Yeah, I was there at a big book fair.
Oh, right,
It was huge.
Did you buy any books?
I didn't.
No.
Not on that occasion. I have a lot of books, but I didn't buy any on that occasion. But it was fun to walk around. It was a real family event, and all kinds of books, very well represented. And in Poland, people are still book lovers, apparently.
They are. Yeah. I love books as well.
There was a big concert. Didn't the Rolling Stones play here?
I think they did.
Yeah, their first concert was in '67.
They came back and they played here.
They did indeed.
Not long ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stayed at the Europejski.
Hey, do you know anything about Praga?
Not a great deal, but it was quite interesting architecturally because it wasn't actually destroyed during the war. I mean,
Right.
For those of you who's interested in history, this is as far as the Russians got. And the Russian army was here, or the Soviet army as it then was, and when the Warsaw Uprising started, they were expecting the Soviet forces to move across the river and help, and of course, they stopped at the river and didn't help.
Yeah, and they stayed over here, and this place was not as destroyed, although there was a lot of fighting here during the war.
But it was mainly the other side of the river where the
Yeah.
action took place, so to speak,
Well, indeed.
and the destruction. Which is why it's so interesting to look at the old buildings here, because they are the original old buildings.
Okay, we're back. Poland Daily Travel, more exciting talk about metros, undergrounds, tubes, subways, not the sandwich, but the trains that go underground, and sometimes overground, and other things like that. And talking about the Warsaw Metro, which I find is one of the nicest metros I've ever been on.
It is. I mean, I've used it quite late at night, and it's actually very civilized quite late at night. I'm not sure I'd want to take many of the last metro trains in Paris or London.
Now, I saw the movie about the last metro. It was in Paris. I wouldn't do that.
No, but in Warsaw, it's actually very, very civilized. And at weekends, it runs well into the early morning.
Unlike the night buses, I might add.
I've taken
The night buses are not civilized?
They're okay.
It depends on which direction is going, and what time and what day of the week.
Well, I have taken them when I've been too late for the last metro.
What time? This begs a question.
Most from Centrum, where the very centre, as the name suggests, the last metro is about 12:30.
Even on Saturdays?
No, it's later on Saturdays.
Is that going northbound or southbound?
Northbound.
What time is it on the weekends? Like 2 o'clock?
The latest one, normally about 2:40, actually.
Is that late?
That
well,
late,
this is
yeah.
very good. And then it opens again about 5 a.m.
And then in the meantime, you have the night buses. So you actually, if you find yourself late at night in the centre of Warsaw, you can normally get somewhere else by public transport quite safely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually a plus.
Yeah, I wouldn't be averse to, usually you take an Uber or a regular taxi, but I wouldn't be averse to clambering onto a night bus if it were going my way.
Well, they go to most places.
Yeah.
Just have to just have to check which number, unless you're mathematically challenged, which it might be difficult.
What does clambering mean? Again, I'm stumped by my own vocabulary.
It sort of means climbing in a slightly chaotic fashion.
Climbing in a chaotic fashion. That would describe me late at night.
Yep, okay.
But, but I will remember this.
Well, I certainly do agree with you, Nicholas, that the Warsaw Metro is well kept. They do have Metro police at every stop. I believe 2 are on duty, and they're monitoring the situation all the time, in real time. So nothing really untoward is going to happen on the platforms or in the cars. Other metros that I've found to be quite civilized include Washington, and I've heard Moscow is quite civilized.
If you're on the Washington Metro late at night, though, don't be no jive turkey.
Well, you're fine in the metro, but if you take the yellow line a bit too far northeast, you might be in trouble.
You could be a jive
if
turkey.
you leave the metro sanctuary that it is.
Yeah, I go a lot of times in Washington to the Eastern Market. Do you know where the market is? On Capitol Hill. Nice place, actually. But the stop there can be a little populated by, let's just say, different kinds of people at all hours of the night.
Is it like
of the day or night?
Is it like the old Times Square?
Well, it's not really like it's not like that because it's a very nice area, but you do get all kinds of people sort of chanting and selling knickknacks and
dime bags, nickel bags.
No, not selling drugs.
The teachings of Krishna.
That's something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a drug place or something like that, like old Times Square was. No, it's nothing like that. It's just a little off. It's a sort of crossroads area, and you come out of I often go there with a bag just off a plane or something when I'm going to Washington, to that area. But I find as we said before, Washington Metro is good. But what about London? Because we used it extensively. New York I know a bit, as we were talked before. But the London, I know like the back, I used to know, like the back of my hand. Well, you'll see the metro written there.
Yeah. Well, obviously it was one of the first. I think it was started in 1863, and it's very extensive. 400 kilometres of track, 270 stations, 11 lines. So it's quite big, and it covers most of the central area and out into the suburbs.
It's a real show-off network. Look at me.
Yeah, and funnily
Look
enough,
at me. I'm really big and massive.
only 45% of it is actually underground. The rest is on the surface.
Yeah, there's a lot on the surface.
Is it completely built, or is it still? Are they still making new lines and stations?
At the moment, it's not exactly part of the metro, but it's sort of integrated with the system. There's this Crossrail link from Heathrow in the east, in the west, sorry, to Essex in the east, which will make a big difference. I think that is actually probably technically Europe's largest civil engineering project at the moment.
Is that right?
Yeah, it should open. It should have opened already, but it'll probably be delayed for a.
But they're expanding the Warsaw one too, because the M2, there's the M1, which goes from. Where does it go? It goes from Młociny. What am I talking about? Młociny, of course.
North-south, yeah.
To Kabati, right?
Yeah.
Which is quite a long way. It is 29 kilometers or something, isn't it? No, it's not that far.
29.
19 or 20, yeah. And the M2, which crosses with that at Świętokrzyska.
Yep.
I mean, this is a nice metro. But the M2 is being expanded.
Yeah, because it's only about 8 stops, not even 8 stops at the moment.
I think there's 6.
6
or 7, yeah.
I think 7, yeah.
And how far are they going to extend it then?
Well, they're going further to the west.
And to the east.
And rather, I believe, northeast.
Yeah.
I think it's going to end out in Marki or Brudno.
You think they'll go underground all the way to Marki? I don't think so. That's got to be overground, wouldn't it?
Well, they're building it out in Marki now, underground.
Really?
Yes.
Well, this is why we need a Warsaw Metro representative.
Indeed, we've got a highway.
We need the spokesperson for the Warsaw Metro. I entreat you, sir or madam, we need you. We need you to tell us all of these fun facts. And I'm here, and I'm inviting you to the program, and don't be shy.
But interesting, we're talking about long distances. The longest journey you can take on the London Underground, without changing trains, is 56 kilometres, which is quite a long way.
That's
on the Central Line.
That's like from Warsaw to...
Yeah, I mean, that's actually quite a long way on an underground train.
To Minsk, Mazowiecki?
Yeah.
It's about that far, isn't it?
That's quite
For
extensive,
example. Or Płock, another great metropolis nearby.
So, I mean, and those, at either end, you'll see, get out in the countryside and see a bit more. But I hadn't realised that's a long way.
It really is a long way. Do you know which line that is?
Central Line. Epping to West Ruislip, I think, technically.
So east-west, is it?
East-west. It's east-west, yeah. It's the red.
Or west, yeah.
It's the red one, for those of you
who... The red one, right.
If you have a London Underground map in front of you, it's the red one.
Well, in this here little special device, I can find that London Underground map anytime I please. And so can the folks at home. In case you were wondering, it's all right here.
What sorcery is that?
That's what the kids tell me. What sorcery? Yeah, that's what the kids tell me anyway. I believe them.